The Green Bay Packers avoided the trap just barely, but without Jordan Love, they get a huge win on the road. They win. That's really all that matters. Let's talk about it. Packers 30, Jaguars 27. Let's do it.
You are Locked On Packers, your daily Green Bay Packers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Packers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Peter Bukowski, and I cover the Packers for The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. Follow me on Twitter, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter, Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the podcast. Wherever you find podcasts, you will find Locked On Packers, the #1 Packers podcast on the internet. And the show for fans who know what happened, they want to know why and how. Thanks to everyone who makes Locked On Packers their first listen every day. We hope you like starting your day with us as much as we like starting our day with you. Today's episode of Victory Monday, brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first ticket purchase. What time is it? Game time. There were some touch and go moments, to be sure, and losing Jordan Love will never inspire confidence in the Green Bay Packers. But what should inspire confidence is the way that this offense responded for the Packers without Love in a game where you absolutely had to have it. Absolutely had to have it, and you get what you need in the second half from Malik Willis, from Jordan Love, from Josh Jacobs, and you beat a Jaguars team that on this day, and that's all that really matters on this day, was more than game to go toe-to-toe with the Packers. That's all that matters. Malik Willis led 3 scoring drives in the second half, 2 touchdowns, threw one. They ran one in with Josh Jacobs. He scored 2 on the day, and then you get the game-winning field goal because Matt LaFleur is just better than almost anyone else he's going to go up against. I understand the frustration that a lot of you felt throughout this game and even might be feeling right this minute. It's going down in the chat on YouTube. But at the end, when they needed it, second down, they get over the top. They hit the big one. Jaden Reed, we'll have to go back and look at it, right? I hate to be the coach. We'll have to go back to the tape. But they essentially run leak, where they sneak Jaden Reed out the back door, up the sidelines, and it's a huge play, 51 yards to set up what ends up being the game-winning points. And don't let this go underappreciated at the end. At the end, a backup running back, Chris Brooks, it's 2nd and 7. And the Jaguars defense parts, almost as if they want the Packers to score. Because with a minute left and no timeouts, that is exactly what they want. Because they know it's over if the Packers get a first down in any event. But if they score, that gives the Jaguars the chance to score and then go for 2 and win the game. It was intentional, and you have a running back who's coached up enough, who's smart enough, whatever the combination in there is. And I just have to assume it's a combination. He goes down, but not until he gets the first down. The Packers are able to go into victory formation, and you make this all work. Now, I understand there is a part of, and let's not gloss over the fact that Brandon McManus now in 2 games as a Packers kicker has made 2 game-winning field goals. Now, this one, I think Braden Arvison would have made this one. I think Anders Carlson would have made this one. We're talking about a 24-yard field goal. We're talking about a chip shot field goal. Now, could the mechanics, could the process have been bad? Could there have been a botched snap, a botched hold? Yeah, that would have been about right for the Packers special teams over the last couple of years, but that's not what happened. They get the game-winning field goal. Now, I do understand the criticisms of Matt LaFleur, or at least the questions about Matt LaFleur. And I was getting them from friends of mine, from media people, going, why does the offense look different with Malik Willis versus Jordan Love? And I go back to the Aaron Rodgers experience. And in 19, and then again in 21 and 22, it was more about Aaron Rodgers when the team was healthy. And this was where you were able to draw that biggest line of distinction. When the team was healthy, they kind of just let Rodgers cook. Now, 2020 is a little different. They were a much more schemed up offense in 2020. It was just like, hey, Rodgers, just go do some stuff. And they called the plays and they called the play actions, but it was still a lot of like drop back, traditional, let's go big game hunting down the field. With Malik Willis, much more scheme, run the ball, play action, RPOs, and then a couple schemed up shot plays like that Jaden Reed play. Do they have to modulate back what they're giving Jordan Love to give him more opportunities to not make these turnover-worthy plays? I don't know about that. There is going to be a group of fans who say the offense is better with Malik Willis. It's not. Do not kid yourself. The offense is not better with Malik Willis, but they do call the game differently. And I wonder if they need to go back and find a better balance of the schemed up stuff versus just letting Jordan Love go out there and make plays, because he can. We know he's capable of doing that, but asking him to do it down in and down out, it's not the best thing for the football team. Now, you run an out against quarters, you shouldn't have a problem seeing that the corner is playing right there. Don't throw the ball right to him. Looked right at it. Arm arrogance is one thing, and arm craziness is another. Like, it doesn't take Robert Saleh joining the team to see, don't make that throw. So they have to find a better balance, at least until Jordan Love can sort of lock in here a little bit. This is not, Malik Willis is not coming in and doing anything that Jordan Love could not have done. That 38-yard run from Josh Jacobs is just an incredible play by him. It has nothing to do with who the quarterback was. And that's a go-ahead score. That's a huge score in the game. All right. Was that the one to make it 10? Either way, that's a huge play in the football game. Yeah, that was the one to make it. So you get the Josh Jacob, the little Tucker Kraft one to make it 27-17. That was the big one. That one seemed like the big one anyway. It was the touchdown that made it 27-17. The Jacobs run was the one to give the Packers back the lead. We don't need to dive into that. I just don't think that's useful. Anyone who's saying the Packers should go with Malik Willis or anything like that, please just watch the games. Just watch the games. Malik Willis deserves a metric ton of credit for the way that he's played. But there is not some quarterback controversy in Green Bay. I think that Matt LaFleur needs to take some lessons away from what he's seen when Malik Willis is the quarterback and say, hey, maybe just taking a little bit off of Jordan Love's plate, especially on early downs. And then, yes, on third down, he's going to do those cool things. But on second down, why couldn't the Packers on 2nd and 9 have done some of those, like that Jaden Reed call? Where is that for Jordan Love? I'm talking about last week, the week before, not just in this game when he's hurt and obviously dealing with something. We'll talk about the Jordan Love injury a little bit more later. They need to find a better balance. Now, all that being said, with Malik Willis for a half of this football game, they get to 30, albeit against a bad Jaguars defense, but 30 points. That's a credit to this offense. That's a credit to Jaden Reed, who makes that big catch. It's a credit to Malik Willis. It's a credit to Matt LaFleur, this offensive line, to Josh Jacobs. This is a really, really talented team, but let's be clear. If this team wants to win a Super Bowl, if this team wants to compete in the NFC, they have to find a way to do a better job with Jordan Love and this offense. They just have to. Now, the defense, too. The defense did not play their best game, especially in the second half. In fact, this was the worst second half performance by a lot. No team had even gotten to double digits. The Jaguars scored 17 in the second half. So what happened there exactly? Well, we'll talk about that next on Locked On Packers. Today's episode of Locked On Packers, a Victory Monday, Locked On Packers, brought to you by our friends at LinkedIn. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job, but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn Jobs. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Today's episode also brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks, the best place to get real money action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to everyone. You just pick more or less than two players, at least two players, for a shot to win up to 100 times your money. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. That's right. You can pick 3, 4, 5, 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks. What are you waiting for? It's the best place to do this. Plus, they put their members first. All your withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When your picks hit, you can get your money out in 15 minutes or less. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to get that bonus. It's guaranteed. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly. Instantly when you get that, play that first $5 lineup. Locked on NFL to get $50. Don't even have to win. Just play that lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. What I thought happened for a lot of this game defensively is Jeff Hafley tried to bring some creative pressures against Trevor Lawrence. And over, Trevor Lawrence had answers. If the Packers brought a safety off the right-hand side, the Jaguars had a guy sitting down right in that vacated spot by the safety, and Lawrence was putting it on him. The Packers had some really good blitz looks in this game where they schemed up a free rusher right at Trevor Lawrence, and he just dotted someone up. That's that last drive where they had no receivers. The Packers trying to get to some unique looks, some cover 2, some inverted Tampa, some non-traditional Tampa. And they almost outsmarted themselves in this one, trying to get a little too cute when I thought, hey, the best thing that they could do is just play some man coverage and make these guys go over the top and beat you. Now, Evan Ingram against Keyshawn Nixon, surprise, surprise, you're going to lose that matchup. Evan Ingram is a better football player than Keyshawn Nixon. Sometimes you just lose a matchup because you don't have as good a player in that spot. Javon Bullard had a nightmare game. Evan Williams gets hurt. So that's a big problem. I've been saying back since Georgia that Javon Bullard's best spot is the slot. He gets beat by Brian Thomas Jr. As a safety, having to cover the slot receiver, which is a much more difficult thing than a slot corner covering in the slot. It's just a difficult thing to ask all of these guys to do all sorts of complex things that late in the game. Just play man coverage. I understand what worked last week, and of course Jonathan Vilma on the broadcast saying, "Well, they don't have to do anything exotic. They don't have to bring exotic pressures to do." And it's like, did you watch last week, Jonathan? That's like what they did. That's what they did, and it worked awesome. That's how this works. They win with confusion and with blitz looks and with mugging the A gap and sending Edgerrin Cooper. You create the sack fumble that gives you one of the decisive scores in this football game. I continue to not understand why Adrian Cooper is not just the starting nickel linebacker on this team. Why is he not just the starting will linebacker on this team? Someone explain it to me like I'm 5. Why is he not the starting will linebacker on this team? In base, in nickel, he has to be on the field. All he does is make impact plays. Now, yes, did he have some missed tackles in this game? Yes. Did he have an absolutely incredible play on Christian Kirk? He mugs the A-gap. Looks like he's going to pressure. Ends up being the middle runner in Tampa 2, where you have to get back to the middle field, where you're essentially playing middle field safety. Because Tampa ends up being like cover 3. It doesn't matter. Christian Kirk has the ball. It's a catch. Huge play. And Cooper gets his hand on the ball. There's no way a linebacker should be able to go from mugging the A-gap to running with a slot receiver, and a good one at that. Christian Kirk can move to get back to that play. Now, was he beating coverage? Yes, but he had the speed to recover into the catch point. You contest, you finish through the catch point, and you make the pass breakup. That is a huge play in the game to get that stop, to give your team a chance to go back and score points. He has to be on the field. This is, I think it would have been myopic to look at last week against a pretty mediocre offense, which is what I said all week coming in and what I said, frankly, all offseason and all summer, that Texans team, and we saw it again, the Colts, at least from what I could gather on Sunday, like they just, even the Colts, who do not break their tendencies at all about what they do, could not block up, or they were getting home against CJ Stroud. Texans could not block up that front, a front that the Packers absolutely ate up. So, like, I understand the Packers saying, let's try a lot more of that stuff. Well, the teams are going to have answers. You have to be able to be an amoeba, to be amorphous, to be constantly changing and saying, we're going to do this and be this over here and this over here and this over here. They have the players to do it. Now, you lose Evan Williams, which, by the way, I'm not surprised that, people are confused as to what's going on there. I was a little bit, because, I'm watching. I'm not locked in on what's happening on Twitter. And all of a sudden, it's like Evan Williams isn't out there. We get the announcement. He's out, or he's questionable to return, and then that he's out. Broadcast, I don't know if the broadcast mentioned it. Or if they did, it was very much glossed over. Like, oh, hey, Evan Williams is not out on this possession. It was not anyone's idea of a perfect broadcast. When you lose those players, now you're scrambling. You're already without Quay Walker, who's not, exactly the heartbeat of this defense. What I didn't understand was it was like they said, with Quay Walker, we can trust Adrian Cooper to be the guy. But with Eric Wilson, we need another veteran out there because you're already replacing Quay Walker. And it's like, no, Adrian Cooper is so clearly one of your most dynamic defenders. You just have to be out there with him. The sack fumble is a great example. The play against Christian Kirk is another great example. You have to live with some of the missed tackles. Javon Bullard had some missed tackles in this game. There was I think Bill Huber said he counted on the first touchdown drive for the Jaguars, eight tackles. But for the second game in a row, the Jaguars did not convert a third down, or a Packers opponent, let me say it that way, did not convert a third down through the air until the fourth quarter. 2 minutes and 12 seconds left. In fact, in almost each game, it was basically 2 minutes left. Trevor Lawrence, finally, it was actually their first third down conversion, full stop. And they convert it. They end up scoring the touchdown that could have been the game time, or that were the game time points. The Packers go down and get their field goal. But the defense has to have their guys, and the Halfley evolution is going to have to be a week-to-week thing. They're going to have to find, when teams are able to beat the blitz, whether it's just play more man coverage and rush 4 and live with the outcome, or whatever it is, they're going to have to find some answers against teams that are able to beat the pressure, because someone like Trevor Lawrence, he was able to do it. Someone like Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, he's going to be able to do it. Jared Goff, we've seen him. We saw him just a couple weeks ago against Minnesota, or just last week, I should say. He had all the answers against the blitz. So you have to have some counters to that counter if you want to be a team that other teams have to take seriously. Now, all that being said, this defense played terrific for the balance of the football game. They were put in some bad positions. It's a 10-point game. They allowed 10 points in the first half. Yes, some bad prevent defense, essentially. Some bad communication there at the end. This was a desperate Jaguars team with a good quarterback. And even without Brian Thomas Jr. and even without Christian Kirk, like, Evan Ingram is a dangerous player. They just drafted this strange kid. He's very physically gifted. And Trevor Lawrence just made a bunch of great plays with pressure in his face. You just have to tip your cap on some of these. It's like when Jerry James makes a great play on the out route. That's just a great football play. Now, was Jordan Love staring it down the whole time? Yeah, but that's going to happen. Trevor Lawrence made some unbelievable plays. Like, the box score is not going to do him justice in this game. It was a terrific play by Xavier McKinney to get the interception. But I thought Trevor Lawrence, by and large, in this game was outstanding. And if Jordan Love is healthy in this game, the Packers probably score 40. I mean, they played, again, a B-, C+ kind of football game on offense and got to 30 points against this team. I understand a bad defense, but 30 points and the win, you'll take it. Now, again, I don't think there's any sort of controversy here with Jordan Love and Malik Willis. There's not. I'm not even going to say I think. There's not. But the Packers need Jordan Love to get healthy. So now what do you do? That's the question. We'll talk about that next on Locked On Packers. Today's episode brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Game Time has a new feature that makes buying tickets so much easier. It's called Game Time Picks. It makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play faster and easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only the incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Plus, with all-in pricing, you can toggle that feature on. It'll show you the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. Don't you hate that? You go in, you get your tickets, you're going, bang, I'm getting a great deal, and you get to the checkout, and then you get processing fee, handling fee, security fee, safety fee, all these fees. And you're like, wait a second, now it's like $200 more than I thought. No. They'll show you the prices up front, because those other companies, they want to rip you off. Game Time wants you to know what you are getting when you buy. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first ticket purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. The Green Bay Packers are only going to go as far as Jordan Love takes them this year. The fact that they are able to win a game, and in fact, not just one game, but 3 games with Malik Willis at quarterback, is proof of just how talented this team is. But that raises an interesting question about how to move forward. This Lions game upcoming is an enormous football game in the grand scheme. It is their only home game with the Lions. They don't play the Lions again until December. That is in Detroit. But Jordan Love is not healthy. They have the bye week. Out of the bye, the Packers go to Chicago. They play host to the 49ers. They play host to the Dolphins. They have to go to Detroit and to Seattle. Those are their 5 games coming out of the bye. They're home for New Orleans before finishing the season in Minnesota, and then home for the Bears. It is a tough end of the season for the Packers. It is a reasonable question to wonder if the prudent thing to play for the long-term viability of this franchise and really the medium term of the franchise this season, if the move is rest Jordan Love against the Lions this week, get the bye week, and then have Jordan Love something close to fully healthy going into Chicago mid-November. And even if you have to take an L, 6-3 going into the bye is a really good position to be in, where you're going to be favored in probably every game the rest of the way, except in Detroit, and we'll see about where Minnesota is at the end of December. The Packers are still in a really good position. Winning a game like this allows you to say, what if Jordan Love doesn't play a week from today? Losing, you feel like you have to play him. Now, I generally believe if Jordan Love is healthy enough to play, he's going to play. He should play. What you hope didn't happen is, in an effort to compensate for the MCL, he gets hurt and it turns into a sports hernia. And then all of a sudden you need to have surgery and the season's over and your season's over. The Packers are not competing for a Super Bowl with Malik Willis. For as great a story as this is, and I do not want to gloss over what a great story this is with Malik Willis. I almost felt bad making this a segment because Malik Willis has been excellent. Excellent. So much better. Like the Titans would have 2 or 3 more wins this season. At least 2 more wins probably this season if Malik Willis were their quarterback instead of Will Levis. They probably beat the Jets. They definitely beat the Bears if Malik Willis is their quarterback and not Will Levis. So he has been a terrific story. We don't know what the injury diagnosis is for Jordan Love, so it may be a moot point. It may just be the case that Jordan Love is going to have to sit, and that Malik Willis comes in and gives them whatever chance that they have. And I think, to the point that we were talking about in the earlier, I think the Packers will have a good plan against this Lions defense. The problem is the Lions, they can stop the run. It's the passing game where you feel like you have an advantage against them, and that's where you would have really liked to have Jordan Love. But you'd rather have Jordan Love in December when they play again, and in January when the Packers are going to be searching for a Super Bowl title. You've won the games now. You have proof of concept with Malik Willis, who's like 2.5-0 as a starter. Done more than just caretake your offense. In fact, if you look at the numbers, I mean, Malik Willis in this game, 4 of 5, and the 5th one was a drop by Romeo Doubs. He was essentially flawless coming in. The RPO, the read option, the things that his legs do allow this Packers offense a lot of different options and allows Matt LaFleur to really get in his bag on this. But you don't have to rush Jordan Love back because you can compete. I'm sorry, but you can compete with Malik Willis against the Detroit Lions. That defense, you can do some things against that defense. Just don't turn the ball over. And Malik Willis has been excellent taking care of the football this season. Matt LaFleur has done a great job of putting him in a position to succeed. I think you can do enough against the Lions to be competitive, to get into your bye week, that you don't have to rush Jordan Love back. But if Love can go, if this is just a little tweak and in 2 or 3 days he's feeling pretty good, and by Thursday he's full go practice and he gets a full go practice on Friday, then he plays and you don't worry about it. And then you have the bye week to figure it out. We don't know, as we're recording this, what the situation is with Jordan Love. But I can tell you this for certain. The Packers cannot win a Super Bowl without Jordan Love, which almost renders the first 8 minutes of this episode in a way, or at least the conversation about Willis versus Love, moot. If it's the case that they can't win a Super Bowl with Malik Willis and they can with Jordan Love, then you have to find a way to make this all work with Jordan Love. And I can't even believe we're at this point. I think it is mostly luck. The opponents, like the Packers, played the perfect Colts opponent. That team cannot stop the run at all. The Packers had the perfect one-off game plan for that. Then against the Titans, the Packers defense was excellent. They get the turnovers. They get the pick six. Malik Willis makes 2 great throws. Christian Watson makes 2 plays, and you get a little lucky, and that's great. You win that football game. This one was not luck. This was Matt LaFleur. This was Josh Jacobs. This was the offensive line. This was Malik Willis making a couple plays. This was good football against a good football team in theory, but a team that has not been good this year and a defense that has been flat out cheeks all year. So I'm not going to get too excited about that. The Lions are a different animal. The Vikings are going to be a different animal. The 49ers are going to be a different animal. The Eagles, even the Commanders. You need love, which means you need to be cautious about this. Will the Packers be? They tend to be with these quarterback injuries, but it seemed like he came back a little early against the Vikings. I don't know if it's early or what. The run game has done what they needed to do for whatever was written on ESPN about Josh Jacobs, which was hilarious. The defense has been good enough for nearly the entire season, with the exception really of this fourth quarter. So can you get just like solid quarterback play from Malik Willis for one game, get Jordan Love healthy, and then now you've got a stretch run where you figure the rest out? I think the Packers can do that. I think they're well coached enough to do that. I think they're talented enough to do that. And I still believe that this team has not played its best football. They've gone over to score 30 points in any NFL game against any defense on the road without your starting quarterback is a pretty big deal. They go over 30 against the Cardinals. That's a bad defense. I get it. They score over 30 with the Titans. Again, that is a good defense with your backup quarterback. They can make this work with Malik Willis for one game, for 2 games. But they need Jordan Love to be a Super Bowl team. So get him healthy. Get him healthy. I wonder how 2022 would have been different if they had just let Aaron Rodgers get healthy. Just play Jordan Love for a month and let Aaron Rodgers get healthy. Now, Rodgers was never going to let them do that. But they might have been in a better position to make the playoffs in 2022 had they done that. Jordan Love clearly could not move in this game. If he's going to be 75%, 70% of his regular self, I would rather see Malik Willis and let Jordan Love be 90, 95% healthy against the Bears in a couple weeks. But the Packers won. It gives them the leeway to do that. If they had lost, it would have been a different circumstance. And this team has shown the resilience. 2 straight weeks, the game-winning kick. 2 straight weeks, the offense goes right down the field. Right down the field to get the game-winning points. This team is getting some breaks. They've got to capitalize. They've got to capitalize. All right. Awesome week coming up. Packers, Lions. We will be on our A game. We will be on our A game. We'll see if the Packers can bring their A game as well. Of course, we'll give you all the latest updates over at The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you get podcasts. Loaded Locked On Packers coming at you. Subscribe wherever you get podcasts. Subscribe over on YouTube so you can hang out live with us after every game. All the social medias, Peter_Bukowski or Locked On Packers, TikTok, Instagram, all that good stuff. So you can stay Locked On Packers.